Okay. Let's see. Oh no, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's much faster. Okay, that's going to be way better. Okay. Great. Yeah, this is going to be much better. It wasn't. I'm glad to hear it wasn't bothering you guys. It was bothering me because I would see like questions come up like, you know, a couple minutes later. And I know that there was a setting that I could change to maybe fix that a little bit. So, so that's much better. Great. So, yeah. If are there any more questions off the top of your guys' head? Otherwise, I'm gonna do a little bit of work on this. This adventure. Oh, excuse my pants. They're. Yes, thank you. Yes, I should be getting better. I go to the doctor on Monday, which hopefully the last of the stuff inside me will be all removed, and then I will be feeling 1,000 times better. But for now, I just kind of have to, you know, sit around the house in my pajamas and go to the bathroom every hour on the hour. And be in pain while that happens. So not the most fun thing in the whole world, but you know, it could be a lot worse. So I'm just trying to, you know, stay positive and all that. Okay, so let's see. Trying to figure out exactly how much I want to tell you guys about this episode that I'm prepping. Very interesting, the last episode that we shot, because the party kind of had some choices of what to do next, which was kind of really fun. And they did getting you know, really different stuff. New cold opens. Yeah, there's going to be certainly some new cold opens. Probably not anything giant. Probably nothing. Nothing so big that you know, nothing too exciting in the way of new opens. But yeah, with new episodes, that means new cold opens. Oh wow, this year we're getting Smash Brothers for the Switch. What a time to be alive. Hopefully it's a brand new game. Yeah, no, nothing. We'll probably we'll definitely have some new cold opens for you guys. Lemon Grab will be around in the set, and we tend to not plan the cold opens too far in advance. We used to really get pretty elaborate with them, and as our lives have filled up, you know, it's basically doing a cold open like Too Many Players, or the cold open like Master Dag School of Axery. That was like too much stuff. It was basically its own separate production, and so we try not to do those anymore. But yes, Hey, Renegade Bond. We haven't really been talking too much about what's going on. Looks like we have some questions about what the difference between Fate and 5e is. So the difference between the biggest difference between Fate and 5e for me is where Fate is way more like a general guideline to creating characters and stories, whereas so there's no like races or classes or anything in Fate. It's all stuff that you guys make up yourselves. So you have, say, so what makes it a little bit different, and on our Patreon I put the for our Patreon subscribers, I did put a little guide that I put together about converting, that I made for our players, converting your character from, let's see, where is it? Converting your D&D 5e character to Fatehold. So the main difference is that where in D&D you have a race and a class, and those things are descriptors about your character, but they really don't have any bearing on the actual gameplay. Fate is all about descriptors being for just the descriptors themselves are the things that give your character power. So whereas I use the example, so in D&D, both Davon, Vel's mentor, and Darius, Jamie's parent slash, they're both elven wizards, and Vel is also an elven wizard. And in D&D, the race elf and the class wizard describe all of them. Whereas in Fate, they might be represented in their high concept by things like morally gray elven arcanist, or kindly elven researcher, or curious elven transmuter. So there's a big difference between and those are like your abilities. That's your high concept that you can basically use to invoke and say, like, well, because I'm a kindly elven researcher, I would know that this plant is going to be able to react in this magical method with these, and the table kind of goes, okay, yeah, that sounds good, and I take your fate point, and then we sort of play assuming what you just said was true. We get to sort of make up our own skills, which is really nice. So what I really like about the sort of the skill system is that we get to create our own skills. So a lot of the time we'll just use the basic list. So rather than things like dexterity or wisdom, you have things like athletics and will, and you can make up new skills for different things. So like because skills are the main way that basically contests are rolled. Essentially, Fate, everything is a skill check. You guys will see it a lot more when I get this episode, but everything is a skill check, but it's all about... it's much more about narrative storytelling and about basically setups and payoffs. The whole point of a lot of the play in Fate is to create advantages, setups that then you can pay off later for big results. So like you might, rather than every turn Christine hitting the ogre with her sword, the turns might be where, someone throws some sand into the eye of the ogre, and then Vel drops a bookshelf on him using some kind of telekinesis, and Christine bashes them over with the shield, and all of those are advantages. They haven't dealt any damage, but then Ka will check all the boxes and use up all those reactions, or excuse me, all those advantages to then make a really big attack against the ogre and like come down and stab it and get through its defenses enough to really weaken it. So that's something that I am really excited about. Oh, I have a logo in the middle of my face. Oh, that's not good. Hold on. How's that? So that's something that I'm really excited about. Fate is a very sort of genre neutral system. Does the Jack Black rule still stand? Yep, the Jack Black rule really still stands, and actually the Jack Black rule gets expanded because Fate really depends on the only time you should really be making skill checks are when there's an interesting narrative consequence to failure. So if, you know, I don't need you to roll to see if you can vault over that table. You kind of should just be able to do it unless there's an interesting side effect where if you fall, if the table breaks, what does that mean for the rest of the scene or for the rest of the session? So yes, we're switching from 5e to Fate for those of you who are maybe just joining us. And it's mostly just so that we can play sessions faster, move through more story. We moved through so much story in the one session of Fate Hold that we shot that would probably have taken us like 4 or 5 sessions to do if it was balanced and designed for 5th edition D&D. So we moved through so much story, and we still got to balance it a little. We moved through so much story that we sort of all felt like we missed some of the character moments that we love, but that's really easy. We just got to pull that back and just remember to take the time to do those character moments. So yeah, the Jack Black rule is still there, and it has definitely expanded. Brian will be coming back eventually, probably when Jamie something enters a story again in not too long, but Casey's definitely back. He's still playing Andreos. We'll be picking the story up right where it left off, with sort of Vel and the homeland trying to figure all that out. Yes, Aaron, it's going to give us a lot more creative freedom. It's going to give us the ability to really be able to churn through some of these exciting plot developments that we've been waiting for a long time, that I've been like setting up for years, that it always feels like we're just a little bit too far. The combat, yes, I totally agree, Brian. The D&D combat it's funky. It's slow. It is pretty, especially at higher levels. At low levels, D&D combat can work so well. I still love 5e, especially the low-level stuff, because you can play it so fast and so loose. But as we're starting to get into these higher levels, especially with so many spellcasters in the party, that there's a lot of stuff with just magic items that really we needed to get the grid out. We need to start getting the grid out, because it's questions of like, okay, well, is he within range? Am I within enough range to hit him with this spell? And am I far enough away from that range to not be hit? And it's like, well, I mean, we could rule it in your favor, and just err it on the side of cool. But at the same time, we wanted to be honest with ourselves in terms of, playing the game as it was designed to be played. And so rather than sort of house rule and compromise ourselves into essentially would be just a worse version of D&D, or a much worse version of Fate, we decided to give Fate a try. Oh, interesting. So Morgan has an interesting question. In a game where to some extent mechanics influence story points, how do you see this changing where the story is headed? Yes, it's in the same storyline. I actually see myself being able to have a lot more control over the story in Fate in a lot of ways, or at least sort of be able to help the players. We had a few sessions before our current one, we had sort of a big tension point where Christine had been magically aged, which again, like, fuck D&D for shit like that. But just randomly. But then, we had that moment where, like, Christine needed to go solve this before the 24 hours was up, but Vel was like, I need to stay here for this trial. In Fate, we can do what's called compels, where we can sort of, using the characters' aspects and things that we know about them, I can offer them a fate point as part of this currency system, which is like, go do this for me now, and so you can have a bigger moment later, essentially. So I'm really excited to be able to sort of nudge the players with an actual, like, gameplay mechanic, which is like, okay, I think that your character would do this. I think that your character would, I think that you're going to be able to do that do that differently. And so I'm really excited about that, being able to sort of nudge them in those directions with the compel system in Fate, which is basically like, I'm trying to think of it, like in that example where Christine wanted to go to the, wanted to go to the forest and cure this aging thing, but Vel wanted to stay. I could have just slid Christine a fate point and said, Christine, I'll give you this fate point if you will trust in Nara. Like, that's one of your aspects is Nara's chosen. You're chosen. She has a plan for you. I'm gonna give you this fate point if you stick around, and I don't have as many sessions going sideways. Or I can remind people, like, this guy killed your father. You probably don't trust him. I'm gonna offer you a fate point to make sure that. Because in order to reject that compel, they have to give a fate point to me in order to say, like, no, because of this other reason, I'm going to give you a fate point instead, and sort of like basically trump my compel. So it's going to give me a way to sort of and the other players to sort of have more of a conversation about where we all think the story should go collectively, instead of getting into these mired arguments where everybody is like, well, I think our character should do this, well, I think we should do this, and everyone's at a standstill, and it's like, okay, we need to come to an agreement, because that happens in every RPG. This way we have a way to, as players, sort of negotiate amongst each other where we think these characters are going to go. So I'm really excited for that. Let's see. In a game where, to some extent... oh, I just answered that. Any more Cthulhu one-shots in the future? Not as planned. I love Call of Cthulhu. I want to play more Call of Cthulhu. We probably have about 5 different Call of Cthulhu adventures that we've half finished. Because the truth is, like, we just don't have that much time to all roleplay, and sometimes it's difficult to get people to commit to, it'll be more difficult to get these Call of Cthulhu one-shots together. I'd love to do more. Maybe if we find the time in the future, we'll do more, but there's no plans for any right now, as much as that breaks my heart. I would love to... if somehow this could be a full-time gig, then I would definitely be doing a Call of Cthulhu campaign on top of the Threshold. I want to get through, let's see, it's in the other room. I have Masks of Nyarlathotep, which is one of my favorite adventures ever, and I still have that, I have the big box of Murder on the Orient Express, or not Murder, excuse me, Horror on the Orient Express. So I'm very excited for that. Let's see. Vago, I'm not familiar with Fate. How are you going to make all your different spellcasters feel unique if you just make everything up? So, it was a big sort of thing, because Fate and Magic are very tricky. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. What we ended up doing, because we did a bunch of play tests with this, and the first playtest was just Magic was one skill, and you could just use it for pretty much everything, and that felt way too powerful. Vel was doing all kinds of powerful things he could never do before, like teleport and things like that, all within the rules of Fate, and which made maybe sense narratively, but didn't really feel right. It sort of felt frustrating, and Kevin was like, I have so much that I can do as Vel right now that I don't even know where to start. So we decided to dial it back a little bit. We dialed it back, and what I ended up actually doing is I converted every spell from 5th edition or from classic D&D. I converted all the classic spells into, if you're familiar with Fate, a stunt, which basically means which essentially just gives us the power to I'm sorry, I'm ADD there. It gives the players a more tightly controlled spell list that's tied to their skills, so they're still, as they grow in power, are going to get access to better spells, but at the same time, it's going to... it gives everyone still a spell list, but because of the way that there's going to be fewer spells per scene, we're not going to have as much overlap. So Vel's going to really specialize in transmutation magic, whereas Andreos definitely is more of a diviner, but at the same time, they can use their spells not as spells. Like, Andreos can set up an advantage of, I've seen this before, with his spellcasting check. So he can be using his powers of divination without actually having to cast a spell and, you know, have something happen. What's really cool about, like, then Josh's character, Otto Aberil, is Otto is going to be able to cast spells using a completely different skill. He uses his crafts skill. So while that might feel, he was just a reskinned sorcerer in 5th edition, in this new Fate, he is much. He's going to be much better because his skills are going to be different and his aspects are going to be different. So he will have as much in common with Vel and Andreos as Andreos and Vel have with Christine or Ka, because it's all based on their character traits and the interesting things that make their characters unique, rather than their rather than just what spells they can cast. Does that answer your question? I'll move on. Zach, will the maths be easier for Josh in Fate? Yes, they are significantly easier. But we'll see if whether or not they actually help Josh or not. Ideally, we should be not worrying about the math too much. The most that you'll probably ever have to add up to is like 10 or something like that. So hopefully with all of his pickers and stealers intact, he'll be able to do okay. Let's see. To be honest, I dropped out of your Patreon when the content stopped, but I'm happy to come back. Should I do so now, or should I expect a revamp of that setup? Morgan, we absolutely appreciate anything that you're willing to give to the Patreon. Before I continue on the Patreon thing, Josh was only getting good at his character math because he had a sticky note with a chart on it that he made, where if he rolled this number, this is what he got for each of those things. So it may have looked more effortless, but he had a chart. So we really thank you guys for anything that you're willing to give to our Patreon. The Patreon sort of fell off the wagon, especially content for it, because that's all on me, in terms of stuff that what I try to put into it, and what I would love to be doing with it, just with how difficult it is to put out episodes right now. It makes it really difficult to try to promise that we're going to have lots of content on there. So we are not monthly right now on the Patreon. We are per episode. So essentially, the way it is right now is by pledging to the Patreon, it's saying thank you guys for doing Threshold, and it's just helping us out with things like, you know, we have to buy lights, and what I'm really trying to start doing is to lure my players to the table, say, look, if you're going to come and do this episode, then I think that, you know, Threshold should pick up like our lunch, because that way we don't have to do the whole like lunch song and dance. So those are the things that that's what sort of the Patreon is for right now. And what I'm going to start doing is, as the episodes go up, I am going to be posting my actual materials for the session. So when episode 22 goes up, I will post my actual outline that I work from, minus maybe some spoiler stuff that we don't get to, minus some of that stuff. But basically, all of my notes will go up there, so you guys can sort of follow along with the episode as we're running it, if you want. Because one of the things that Fate does is all the players have access to all the stat blocks for all the monsters, so they can see what their aspects are and what their troubles are and what their skills are. So you guys, I'm going to be putting those as some Patreon content for our Patreon subscribers, so you guys can see exactly what I am, exactly what I'm working from and what the players can see, because I do email. I've started emailing these sessions out to them. I'm going to try to do more afterwards. What I'd like to do, especially once I get this live stream set up going a little bit better, I might start doing afterwards live streams. So especially since it's once a month, if the night that we finish doing a few the night that after the episode goes live, maybe I'll do a afterwards Q&A, or maybe the week after, so people have a chance to watch it, and then we can talk about it in a sort of back and forth more like this, rather than me just kind of shooting my thoughts at the camera. Be able to like respond to you guys and be able to go over the outline. That's sort of my vision. Again, like, it's really easy for me to make these plans now because I'm sitting at home on my pajamas on painkillers. So it's really easy to have these like grand plans. But I think going to once a month episodes doesn't make that impossible. I don't think that one night a month to stream is impossible. So that's what's going on with the Patreon. Again, eventually I saw someone mention live threshold in the comments. That's something that we want to do. It's going to do it the way that I want to do it. It's going to cost a little bit of money because I have to buy a bunch of capture cards, essentially. For it ironically is going to either a bunch of capture cards or a bunch of new webcams. I think the new webcams, similar to kind of what our old system was before we switched to the GoPros, ironically. But I would love to do some live episodes, especially, again, once a month, because that would prevent us from having to spend a lot of time editing, and we could have sort of more interaction with you guys, especially where, like, stuff that is happening in Fate, we can very easily like take audience suggestions to be things that are happening in our world. I know there was a moment where in the last episode 22, we're going through the Hall of Elvish Saints, and it's like, oh, what is this the saint of? And I was like around the table, looking over to, and I was like, what's this the patron saint of? And Kevin's like, oh, it's the patron saint of eating. And then I was like, great. And there's another one panel. What's it the patron saint of? And she was like, vermin. So we're like, okay, great. It's the patrons. We got a couple of different patron saints here, and then those ended up, being things that played major roles. It was a gift that kept on giving. It all eventually became poop jokes for reasons you'll have to understand when you see the episode. But I would love to be able to go to you guys in the comments and be like, okay, tell me what's in this chest. So that's the dream for Live Threshold. Let's see. The return of Christoph. Yeah, Christoph will be back. Once we got to finish our stuff up in the homeland. There's a lot still to clean up and unpack there, just in terms of settling all of this homeland stuff. But we will do. Yep. Yeah. Yes, you're right on it. But I would love to get back to Christoph. PDFs detailing of the setting. Yes, I would love to do PDFs of the setting. What I am also leaning towards is I might write some sort of novelized versions of the Threshold Adventures. I've started working on a little bit, and I would, what was I saying? Oh, some novelized versions, which would be really awesome, that, to sort of flesh out the world in a way, and sort of get more into it. I've been doing extensive world building, and I've sort of retconned a lot of Threshold things. Like I don't know if I've ever showed you guys the new map that I'm working from. Just adjusting certain things a little bit, that, I have some design regret as I as I make my way through. Threshold, you know, there's some things that it's like, oh, I wish I would have done this instead of this. So this is my, this is the new map that I am working from. I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see here's Aeron, and I basically made this a land bridge, and Sarax is kind of just one thing, so that Aeron didn't have like this extra huge land mass that was sort of off on its own. Because we weren't using it, and it just felt like it really upset the whole history of the world by having it there. And I think that this gives a much, sort of a much cleaner, you know, some well-needed and much cleaner solutions to a lot of things that... But as part of that, I've been writing a new language for Aeron, so like you'll see sometimes I'll spell people's names differently than I used to, and that's sort of as I get more into the conlanging of like the Threshold world and the history of it. I have a timeline that I'm working a lot from, and sort of like figuring out a lot of the background stuff. So let's see. James William, yes, you can ask a random question. Ask whatever you'd like. Do we use miniatures in Fate? We're going to. It's not required, but it's very loose. All movement is sort of based on zones, so which can be huge. Zones can be like, you know, room to room. In this dungeon, we use them sort of room from room to room, or or it could be, you know, sometimes they can be states of mind. They could be in or out of favor with the court. But we are going to do some miniatures. We want to, again, this is something that's sort of Patreon dependent. Once we generate some Patreon money, we want to go to Hero Forge and get some like actual good-looking miniatures for our set, because I have been making sort of big maps for these Threshold things, and then we can set them down and have them look real good and have really recognizable things. I want to get a little bit more into the props. Yeah, the table cam will come back. I want to get more into some of the props with some of this Fate stuff, because the Fate points themselves are like a visceral, tactile thing that we can move around. And, yes, yeah, exactly, Strawberry. Hey, Strawberry. Long time no talk. But yes, table cam's coming back. So that's... so yeah, we want to use miniatures. We want to get back into the miniature game. Any plans to visit Halfbreed Island in the future? No direct plans. I like that little element that we have, but I can't think of any pressing story reasons why we need to go there. So let's see. What do you think is more well-known, Sonic the Hedgehog or Rugrats? Oh, that is a random question. Z2 Pookie for you, oh. I think Sonic the Hedgehog is more well-known than Rugrats, for sure. I think Sonic is a little bit older, and as a video game, I think it has greater appeal in not outside of the U.S. So I think Sonic the Hedgehog is much larger known. Arden, glad to hear that Threshold helped you through your workday. We're glad to help. We really would like to start making content more regularly again, so hopefully you'll have some more to get you through those days in the future. Let's see, Captain Scarlet asks, any plans to have other people run a session/arc? Not currently. We're just trying to like get on our feet again and get through the main story. I would love to play a character again, or to let somebody else run a story. We just don't have any plans for it right now. I know Brian has a story that he's been wanting to tell for a little while, and I'd love to like let people do that. I just think that we need to get to a place where we're producing content more reliably. it was really the ability when we had all at our peak, sort of during our season 3 like crossover spectacular, when we had 3 different sort of worlds we had 3 different campaigns going, and we had like all these plans for spin-offs and stuff like that, and then we had Fires of Adam and Homecoming, which were all you know, which were all kind of going at the same time. The only reason we could do that was because of the amount of time that we were able to put into it, and as our lives have gotten bigger and fuller, and commitments of, you know, like we were hardly working at all during that time, and now we're working a lot, and or if not working, then we have a lot of life stuff going on. Let's see. Oh, message retracted. I didn't even know you could do that. Can I unretract it? No. Alright. Let's see. Whatever happened with Kevin... Whatever happened to that girl Kevin session during that... I don't remember that, Zach. I don't remember what was... Oh! You mean during We Bought a Zoo. I don't remember what ended up happening there. I forgot we did that. How much time do you spend preparing before every session, and how much little do you improv? Okay, that's a big, long question. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. I'm going to mute myself real fast because I need to go and use the bathroom because of my stupid kidneys. So hold on just a minute. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Let's see. How much time do you spend prepping? I usually will spend a couple of hours at least prepping. It just sort of depends on how much is going on. I did quite a bit. I did quite a bit of prepping for the episode that we just shot, episode 22, or like the tower. I spent a long time prepping, but then some town time ones, I'm just like, let's just improv it. Let's just do what we're gonna do. So it sort of depends on how many specific story things I want to get to. With Fate, I am going to have to sort of start prepping more, I think, because there aren't really monster stat blocks. There isn't a book full of monsters that I can pull from. I have to sort of design each of them myself, which I like. Because it means that we get to be more unique, so the players can't really metagame like, oh, this troll's going to be weak to fire. They are going to actually have to sort of figure out I'm going to have to figure out what is this troll weak to and why, and how does that work in a game sense. So very excited for that. So there's going to be quite a bit of improv still, but you'll see, if you're a Patreon subscriber, when episode 22 goes up and I put the outline up as well, you will get to see kind of how, how much I have prepared sitting in front of me before the session. Now that we're doing Fate, certain things we're going to have are just going to take more of my time, like drawing out maps of zones for the players, for things that we're going to have. That's going to take some time. But I'm very excited to do that stuff because I think it makes a lot, especially things like dungeon crawls, easier to get through because I'm not like having to draw them in front of them and that kind of thing. So very excited about that. Let's see. Okay, James Williams going to ask his question later. I want to know what it is. It's apparently very random. Let's see. Oh, he's filling the... Oh, no, I'm not filling the... I was not filling the chest. No. That's not a problem that I currently have because I am on painkillers. I'm on opioids, which means I can't poop. Anyone have any idea about what happened to the Threshold Moonlight campaign podcast? Yes, Matt and Aaron, Matt and Aaron, I think. I apologize if I am getting your guys' name wrong, but I haven't talked to you in a while. I talked to them briefly, and they went offline. I think that it was just becoming, for the same kind of reason that we stopped. Tom, yes, Tom. Yes, that's right, Tom. Matt and Tom. How could I forget? I feel like such an asshole now. Yeah, they... yeah, I think that they just sort of the same situation we got into is that they ran out of time in their days. I think that they both kind of got work promotions and had to... I think that they also moved. I think Tom moved like from one city to another, and so it just became more difficult for them to shoot. So I think that that's all. I haven't heard from them if they were going to be back or anything like that. Ooh. Ooh. Owie zowie. Yeah, so hopefully they'll be... I'd love to have them back because I did love having that. It was always such an inspiration to me to have another Threshold. Like, every week what would be happening in Threshold Sunlight or something would, give me the little bit of a, spring in my, like, oh, I want to steal that, or oh, I think I could do something like that, or oh, that makes me want to do this. So, let's see. Will you guys have random gaming? What do you mean by random gaming? Havoc, Pain. What do you mean by random gaming? And I'll see if I can answer that a little bit more. What is the difficulty of the adventure going to be like? Harder or easier? Or easier at first? So with Fate, there isn't really a harder or easier. Fate just kind of tells you kind of how to balance things. Like, okay, these monsters should have, like the threats in this encounter should have skill levels 2 steps higher than the PCs. So if the PCs have 4, if the PCs have a high skill at 4, then these guys should have their high skill at 6. And, as our players get higher from 6, then it should be 8. So it should be pretty balanced, and it should remain pretty balanced throughout because the monsters will always grow with the characters, but not in such a way that it's going to feel like, okay, wait, why do we have all of these, powerful things in, where have these powerful movers and shakers been before? Why are they just showing up now that our PCs can handle them? So I think it's going to be better because, again, you can, at any level in Fate, I can design like a mob of soldiers to be as narratively threatening as a mob of dragons, and still have them feel like two different entities. It's really exciting. It's kind of all about descriptors and things like that. So I'm really excited to give that a try and to really figure out what the Fate system can do. Let's see. So it should be it shouldn't be easier or harder. It should feel pretty the same. It should feel like we're doing good things in the story. Yes, you missed the first few minutes. What's going on with the old kidneys? I had a kidney stone that had to be surgically removed on Monday because it was not round. It had a big old hook and it had just come into the side. I was at Disneyland. We were celebrating. We're celebrating Brian's birthday at Disneyland over the weekend, and we were all down there having a great time at California Adventure when all of a sudden I'd been having some like pain in there for a few weeks, and I kind of knew that the kidney stones were around, but I thought they had passed. And then all of a sudden it hit me like the worst pain, but some of the worst pain I've ever felt. And I had to walk out of there, and you don't realize how fucking far the walk from California Adventure to the car is until you have to do it while being stabbed repeatedly in the torso. But that was, it was very painful. And so I was in the hospital Sunday night until Tuesday afternoon. So I've been discharged now. So the kidney stone's out, but I have a stent inside, and basically a tube running from my kidney down to my bladder. While I feel like I'll talk in this, I'm going to jinx all of it, but hopefully, knocking on wood, everything should be all good now. But that's what's going on with my drunk kidneys. Oh, okay, so will we have any more random gaming like the We Bought a Zoo episode? So that is a little side product of the PlayStation having that streaming feature where you can just hit the share button. So sometimes when we all get together, we've done this in the past with like Jack's Games or something, some of us will be hanging out and we'll be drunk and we'll be like, what if we stream this? What if we just put it on hashtag content? So we do that sometimes. I know Casey, one of our guys, he does, I think he's on Twitch as Super Stream Team. He's trying to do a lot of streaming stuff with different games, so you might want to check that out if you do want some more streaming from us. I don't know if he's ever had anyone else on his stream, but I know that he does that. I know that he was streaming games kind of as they come. He's pretty prolific, so he's usually up on whatever like the newest game is. So while we don't have any plans to do any more streaming stuff, Casey does his streams on Super Stream Team, and maybe we'll dump something on there if we're drunk and trying to play. So here's the really shitty part about that game that we were playing on We Bought a Zoo. Final Destination, is that what it's called? You cannot, if you start a game, Hidden Agenda. If you delete the app, then it sort of like deletes all your player information, and you cannot continue that game unless everyone has saved the app, and then, unless you have the same number of people there at the same time. So we had like everyone there, and we were like, oh, let's pick our game up, and we couldn't. We could not get it to load back because some people had deleted the app in the meantime. So that was like, ugh. So I don't know if we're ever going to finish that game, because to go back through those 2 hours, doesn't seem like, to get back to the point where we stopped doesn't seem like something I want to do. And it's not like I can like play through it to get us back to that point. It's literally like everyone who's going to play it has to have played it the first time. So very obnoxious. How is death? Zach Bergman asks, how is death handled in Fate? So death is handled in Fate in a really cool way. Anytime in a scene you can no longer absorb any more stress, which is just a ton of words that I just put out there, but essentially stress are little boxes that you have. When somebody makes an attack against you, you take a number of stress equal to the number of shifts, which basically means like I make an attack roll and you make a defense roll. And if your attack roll is higher than my defense roll, then the delta between those, the difference between those, is shifts. So if I attack you and I roll a 6 and you roll a 4, I deal 2 shifts of damage to you. You can absorb those shifts in a number of ways. You can check what's called a stress box, which is just a general box which lets you absorb shifts, be they physical or mental. There's 2 different tracts. Or you can take a consequence, which is a descriptor that's put on your character to represent how you have been, sort of how you've been damaged, that then that person can invoke against you later. So that stuff starts to build. If for some reason you don't have any more opportunity to absorb any more shifts, it's more shifts than you can handle, then you are what's called taken out, which means that you are out of the scene. Your time in the scene is over, and we as a table sort of narratively decide what happens to you. So in situations in which character death would be an appropriate outcome, like a climactic battle to the death where both sides have said, I'm going to murder you, then what will happen is we'll probably kill your character, because we'll probably feel like it's that it's narratively satisfying. If it's against some mooks or some people like some minions or something like that, taken out is probably going to mean that you get captured or that you get knocked out, something like that, rather than flat out killed. The other really cool thing about Fate is that any time during a fight or a scene you can choose to concede, which you don't meet your goal. So if your goal was to, stop the wizard from completing the ritual, he's going to complete the ritual, but you get to sort of mitigate what your loss is. There's a little bit of a negotiation where we as a table go, okay, so you're going to concede, so you're going to lose. So the wizard completes his ritual, but rather than plunging the earth into darkness, it only plunges this nation into darkness. And everyone goes, okay, that sounds good. So then the party concedes, and you get a bunch of fate points. Everyone gets fate points for conceding, and it's a really good system, because what it means is that it means that the players don't feel like they have to win every fight. You can strategically lose. You can say, like, okay, let's lose this one, like, so we can rally and then go in with some more knowledge and all that. So I think death is handled really smartly in Fate, whereas it'll happen when it's narratively satisfying, but when it's not narratively satisfying, then we as a table aren't beholden to having to kill off a character because they rolled bad fortitude saves and the Medusa has turned them to stone. So really excited about that. I think Fate is good at capturing the important details of character at the moment in time character sheets refer to. I find it isn't best at capturing progress over time. We're going to see how that goes. Any thoughts how you're going to translate characters with detailed histories, just a ton of aspects? Yeah, part of it is going to be a bunch of aspects. But one of the things that I like about the way that Fate handles it is that we can have aspects that that deal with the story now and then will change up later. As the characters grow and evolve, the aspects are going to get swapped out. Again, there's no limit to how many aspects a character can have. So there are things, and we can just declare aspects, like if suddenly Gregory shows up and it's like, oh, we're married, that's just an aspect that we can put on them. It's like, you're my husband, and that's something that can be compelled just like anything else. The fact that Fate has this fractal nature to it makes it really easy with our character histories, I think, to give those detailed backstories a lot more weight than just, like, it means that in a conflict with Christine and Gregory, if they're fighting each other on a rooftop, or if they're fighting side by side, they can use their marriage and their history as an actual bonus to, like, essentially the power of friendship, their way out of it. And either, in their mental game or their physical game. So I'm really excited to see. I don't know if the character sheets are very good at capturing their history, but I think that the narrative is strong enough and we know these characters well enough that it's going to be really easy to translate those histories into aspects and things like that. especially kind of if we play it very loosey-goosey on the fly, and just be able to like add aspects on people that we can invoke and things like that. So I'm excited about that a lot. So let's see. Will we ever get a drunk threshold game? Maybe a live stream would be good times. Yes. I would love to do drunk threshold. One of our if we can get the live stream set up together, which again is just going to cost I think close to $200 in more equipment, to be able to have something where you can see us all in our normal shots at the same time on. We just need a different type of camera, or we need capture boxes to use our GoPros. But one of the dreams that we've always had is what we call the microtransaction RPG, which is a fundraiser in which the rules to the game are that the audience essentially can, by donating money to the stream, can declare things that happen in the game. So give characters like power-ups, or like if to give a character a weapon, it costs 10 cents, or something ridiculous like that. And essentially, it would be a fundraiser where you would be able to directly like fuck up the people in the RPG as it's happening live. So microtransaction RPG has always been like a fundraising dream of ours. So we would love to do like a live drunk threshold game, or again, because it seems like most of the D&D shows that are unfortunately when we started and Critical Role started pretty much at the same time, and they had a lot more money, and they also had the foresight to get on and do it as a live stream on Twitch. And so I think that seems to be a really good way to do it. I think that they were right, and a lot of the shows that have been successful have been, it's all about that fan interaction like we're having right now. So I would love to eventually go to maybe like where Threshold is live streamed, and then is put up on the YouTube, onto the YouTube channel, archived there later on for people who missed it. That'd be the dream. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time doing the episodes this way and with your guys' awesome Patreon contributions to build ourselves a little bit of a nest egg, because we just sort of spent it all on some equipment and stuff and paying off the GoPros and all that. So we need to build up a little bit of a nest egg so we can make those purchases to make that happen. So if you want to see live stream stuff, please go over and give us a little pledge on the Patreon, and then bear with us for a couple of months while we put out episodes and save up some of that Patreon money so we can execute that and make it happen. So yeah, live stream, definitely what we want. Any awesome monsters in the works like the Narrodrome Librarians? Yes! Yes! What I love about the Fate system is I really get to let my imagination run a lot more wild, and I don't have to balance things as much. I don't have to worry about, like, well, what kind of spells or abilities or how much damage should these guys do, because Fate's so simplified that I don't have to worry about that too much. One of the exciting guys that I have coming up is an elven vampire who is... when you sort of get into like the mythology of vampires, there's a lot of lore that is specifically Christianity based, and so I wanted to kind of throw that out the window and say fuck it, I don't want to be beheld to what our what a human considers a vampire, like can't go out in the sun and all that. So it's like, what does an elven vampire look like? So I'm very excited for him. Players, tune out for a minute if you are watching the stream for any reason, any of my players. He's going to have, one of the things about elves is that their hair stops growing at a certain point. And so the elven vampire, he is going to have hair that never stops growing. So it's going to be like very like long, like yards long, silvery Sephiroth hair that's going to be... what's the term? Prehensile. He's going to have prehensile hair that is going to be one of his primary weapons, and he's going to be able to transform into different animals and be able to like summon creatures of the night to his aid. But you know, something very scary for an elf would be someone who lives forever but whose hair never stops growing. Like, and that's, you could see how that would sink into the lore of a race whose hair does stop growing. So I'm super psyched for that. So that's an exciting monster that I have coming up. Let's see where we got. I don't have too many more exciting monsters. I have some really exciting moments for some characters that have been building. Like Christine's mentor. I've been sitting on that for a long time. Really excited to get that show on the road. And we also just have some really cool monsters just in terms of like Vel's nemesis slash true Transmogrified Tarek Valerius the 13th, Tarek. I'm really excited to sort of let him kind of have his time to shine and be able to build him in a fate way, so we kind of could have the whole party sort of gang up on him rather than have to sort of balance it for 5e rules where, you know, how do you justify this guy being so... Anyway, I'm excited for that. We got some... we're going to have some Thothesian stuff probably coming down the pipeline, and so there's lots of... There's a lot of exciting stuff in terms of monsters. Let's see. Do you create your world and then have the players create based on that, or do you create worlds based on the characters you want to bring to the table? So Threshold was a world that I had. Hello.
Hi. Who are you talking to?
I'm live streaming.
Oh. Just with the internet?
Just with our friends from the interwebs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Pamela is back from from her work. Back from her first job, now here to her second job being my nurse. My nurse, because I am very much in pain.
Oh.
But I have some good news. I talked to the real nurse today, and so I have some good news about that.
Oh, hey, Strawberry.
Let's see. Okay, wait. Hold on. We can get to the Pamela stuff in a minute. Let me... okay. So, in the case of Threshold, the world was the very loosest world. I had just a couple of town ideas made, and I said that I didn't want to design too much. Usually what I do is I'll have some loose ideas for world stuff, and then I'll definitely make elements based on what the players want. So, I knew that, like... Kevin wanted to, for Threshold, I knew Kevin wanted to play an elf, and that, you know, Jamie with the Fae, so I knew I had to put the Fae somewhere, and so the Fae ended up being in the north near the Mammoth Mountains, just simply because I needed those two plots to converge at the same time. So usually what I'll do is I will take what the players want, and I will figure out a way for it to work in an interesting way in this world. Oh, now you got a logo on your face. Hold on.
Or just like, hey.
Here, I'm just going to get rid of the logo.
Okay. Or you can put it in the bottom.
No, it's gone.
What? No.
We still have one. We have a little one. We have the little one down here in the corner.
Oh, okay.
So
that's fair.
So yeah, it's kind of a mix of both. Now that Threshold's more established, I've designed a lot of the world out, and I kind of ask the players to fit within it, but I do not. I'm always willing to add an element or an organization or something that gives the players that gives the players the ability to play what they want to play. Except in certain cases, my very famous Dragonborn and some of my bans on those are simply because I can't figure out a way to fit them in a world in an interesting way. So I kind of say like, hey, I see that you want to play this character. Could we do it, instead of as a Dragonborn, could we do it as a Bullywug? Can we do it as a something else and anything else? Because I don't want a race of half dragons running around my world. Because that would be so fucking broken. Okay, that's talking about the hair. I can't talk about now that Pamela's up. Oh, Clarion. Yes, Clarion. Clarion, I have plans for Clarion. Clarion, I think I will be able to bring back within, like, 3 sessions. Oh. Hold on, guys. Here, Pamela, you talk for a minute. I gotta answer
all the pressure. All the pressure's on me. I
Hello?
can't handle it. I don't know if I'm allowed to read the chat, because I feel like Steven's telling you guys stuff that we're not supposed to know. So yeah, now I have to stall for time, and this feels a little awkward. But yeah, all the pressure. Yeah, I'm really excited. We're playing again. Surprise. Hey. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're finally kind of coming back from a break and all of our planning and everything. Cool. Not spoilerish for me. Yeah, I don't... My favorite class? So before Threshold, I played Druid a lot. It was really just more for the animal companions. There's, thank you. There's one point that, I played a Druid, where her initial, I just rolled on a random table. This is when we're back playing Pathfinder. I was playing a Druid, because, I had, like, this giant, like, deer as an animal companion, and it got rot and died. And then we rolled randomly on a table, and I got a giant corgi as a animal companion, as a druid. And I always just liked druid, and I played bard for a long time. I really liked spellcasters a lot, which seems so counterintuitive now, being a fighter and now a paladin. But I liked playing the spellcasters a whole bunch.
Breaking news. North Korea's Kim Jong-un invites President Trump to meet him. It'd be the first meeting between a U.S. president and the North Koreans. Does that not sound like a trap? That sounds so much like a trap.
Did I sing? Did I sing as sis?
No.
No. I played the lute, didn't I?
I don't remember.
Lute. I did have a lute. I remember.
It sounds right.
Yeah. That one was a lot of fun. So, yeah, before Threshold, I really liked Druid, and I played a Wizard at one point, but I played mostly Druids, and a Bard, and then after started playing Threshold, with the new system, it's like, you know what, I want to be really easy, I want to just, fighter. I'd never in my whole life ever played a fighter before Threshold. And I loved it. I still love it, and I'm really excited for the future, and, I liked exploring paladin powers and all that, and yeah, so those were back when we were playing Pathfinder, it was Druid and Wizard, and now, I don't know anything about the new classes in 5e, but, I would definitely recommend Fighter and Paladin.
Aaron, if you want to learn more about Ka, you don't have to wait till a future story arc. We are in the middle of exploring Ka's backstory arc. But it's just all going to come very quickly. So yeah. We're really... did you prank me?
No.
Okay.
How would I have pranked you?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. They say you look beautiful.
No, thanks.
I went onto our original pilot, right?
Uh-huh.
The original D6 Mafia.
Uh-huh. The pilot, yeah.
Yeah, our episode, not this one.
Not the D&D 5e Let's Play? The Bullywug. We're taking a trip down to Bullywug.
Yeah, the one before that,
mm-hmm.
And
2 years ago.
No, it's more than that.
Oh, geez.
2014.
2014?
Yeah, it's 2014.
We've been doing this for 4 years? We've been doing this for 4 years!
Yeah.
I think I made Christine and I the same age when we started.
And you've like elapsed her. Yeah. Because the way that time works.
By like 3 years.
Actually, I can tell you so much about when Christine was born.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's see. I'll come over here to
no,
the
go
master
do what
calendar.
you were gonna do on the D6 Mafia YouTube page.
Christine is born on the first day of the week, the 7th day of Gigense, 1992.
Cool.
Our very top comment on our
very first episode.
Yeah, on our 5e pilot episode. This is the top comment on our old channel.
God, you look so young.
Yeah, because I am so young. the top comment on our video from 2 years ago is, anyone else find Christine Pamela to be very sexy? And then the top comment is, if I did, I couldn't bring myself to look like a nerd creeper and post it.
Oh my god!
And it was just like, ugh. You know, no one is safe. Not even from 4 years ago. Let's see.
That's too funny. We're taking a trip to Bullybug. Oh god. You had your Hawaiian shirt that you had like just gotten.
Yeah. The wedding planning is going great.
Mm-hmm.
It's in June.
We're 3 months away.
So
it's exciting.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and it's like so much of the so much of everything is like we've been dark while so much of this has happened.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like we need to in a cold open, like we need to like congratulate Brian,
Yeah.
and like there's so much news. So okay. Well, Trump passes sense motives insight check. You might enjoy. Oh yeah, Ranger Rogue. Yeah, you played a Ranger before.
Oh, maybe.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh,
in,
you mean for
Curse of the Crimson Throne?
Oh, you're right.
You,
I did.
She did. She played a Ranger Rogue.
I did. Actually, yes.
She became the new Blackjack.
Yep. If you've ever played that Curse of the Crimson Throne, I became Blackjack. That was actually a lot of fun.
That will transition well into this question about, with having played Pathfinder, thoughts on Paisley announced in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I think that is so hilarious because one of the things that they promised that they would not, that we're never going to do another edition. We're not going to do it. Like, we did this specifically because, I mean, the whole reason that Pathfinder exists is because people like 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Enough that they were like, why is D&D got to change the editions? We don't want this.
4th edition sucks.
So now 2nd edition Pathfinder, it sounds like they're going to make some good changes. I've been reading a little bit about, like, I guess they're, tell me if this sounds good to you, everything takes an action now. Opening a door takes an action. Picking up a weapon takes an action. But you get 3 actions every turn. So you can spend all 3 of your actions to attack. You can move once and attack twice. You can kick down the door, move into the room, and make an attack. Like, again, I'm always happy with new editions because so long as I feel like they take things that they learn from the old editions. What I did not like about D&D 4th edition coming from 3rd edition is it really felt like they were trying to reinvent the wheel with a lot of things in a direction that I personally didn't like. What I would much rather see is, rather than D&D or Pathfinder trying to be the catch-all, if Pathfinder wants to be like the more mathy, min-maxy, like feat-heavy, skill-heavy fantasy epic, then I think that's great. Thanks, Truemate. But if, you know, what I don't want is for them to like try to, you know, reinvent the wheel again. So yeah, so those are my thoughts. I think that Pathfinder 2nd Edition is a long time coming because fuck, they made a version where you went to space. Like, I don't know how they could keep publishing. They have to keep publishing content. The problem with this model in the, you know, in order for them to keep making money, these companies have to keep either dumping out adventures, dumping out all these things. You have to keep publishing. As soon as you stop publishing, you die. And the best way to do that is to do a clean slate. And hopefully they will, with the Pathfinder Society and all that, they'll have learned enough that we'll get some really cool innovations, which maybe some stuff we'll end up stealing for 5e. The more systems you play, the more you end up learning. Like, I know that our games have gotten, like, there's stuff in Fate that I'm stealing from D&D, and there's a lot of stuff in D&D that I was stealing from Fate because I just like Fate as a much more open system. But even some of, like, the sanity stuff with Call of Cthulhu, like, I love to, you know, sort of to bring over and that kind of thing. So, yes. Let's see, looking forward to seeing what some serious Athenian military weaponry look like. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
God.
Me too.
Hopefully that's not that the Arthesian military artillery is working for us.
That's up to you. That's 100% up to you.
So far we haven't, I feel like, personally we haven't done anything to offend them. But
no, but it's what you will do.
Yeah.
It's about the choices you will make. Because remember, like, I'm very excited for this. We're coming to a point where right now all the parties, everyone's party stuff aligns pretty well. You know, like, Vel wants to figure out what's going on with Terrig. Otto needs to lie low. Casey wants to help the Exaltus Populi.
I don't remember Casey's
character. Andros wants to help the Exaltus Populi.
The only way I can remember it is by saying Andros in my head, but it's just Andros. And Christine needs help to sort of back her side of the Aranese Civil War. Yeah. Figure out what's going on with.
And you know, see if the elves can help. But I mean, there's going to be questions of like, are we going to be able to? Are all those things going to be able to be accomplished at the same time?
Probably not.
So it's going to be very fun. Oh, and Ka has his own motivations that only Patrick and I know about.
Yep. Andros. That is exactly how it sounds in my head every time I try to remember his name.
So not much more from me in the realm of questions, but I would say that your channel campaign was what got me interested in tabletop RPGs, especially when I was burned out in grad school. Oh, yay. Great! Glad to help and to turn some more people onto the hobby. Thought, what the hell was that one game on the shelf that was in the back? Oh, that says City in block letters. I don't know. We've never played that one. Actually, we just did a big clean of the basement before we shot our most recent episode to kind of like figure out whose games are what. Because for a long time we had stuff in that basement that didn't belong to anyone who lived there anymore,
or we hadn't talked to in like 3 years.
Lived in town. People like moved and left town and like had just left stuff there, and it's like, do you want this back? What can we do with it? So. We've never played that one, and I think that was one of those ones that didn't belong to anyone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was it in like the colorful block letters? It was like, I think it was like.
It was like it's iconic. It's an iconic set.
I think we got rid of that one actually.
I think we did donate a lot of them.
Yes, because I think we did because that was.
Was it an R&R game?
No, it wasn't. But it was a Kickstarter game, and it was like a city building game, and you're like, oh, cool, and then you like opened it up and went.
I got really excited because it was a city building game, and I opened it up, and then I looked at the art style, and I was like, oh no, this looks too complicated. I wanted something like bright and colorful and clean, because that's what I'm attracted to with board games, is like something less heady, without like a bunch of little numbers on it. I like one big number in the corner, you know, where I can get really deep into it, like super. It's like it has a really easy learning curve, but then can go super deep if you want. No, I needed something a little deeper than Super Fight. Super Fight's fine, but that's basically just you know, where you know you come up with, it's whoever can do the best sales pitch.
Yeah.
Whoever has the funniest combination of cards.
That's true.
What preparations are you making for when your wedding is crashed by an axiomatic bounty hunter from the plane of law? That would be a dream come true. If somebody has if one of our, you know, if Josh, it would have to be Josh. If Josh does that, he'll win 1,000,000 points. But we'll see.
No.
Yeah, Starfinder. No junk. My dad was diagnosed with cancer on Monday, and rewatching your videos has kept me sane.
Oh no.
our heart
Yeah. Oh my god.
goes out
that's
to
so
you.
tough.
I hope everything's going well and that it's not a serious cancer. I have actually a couple of family members that have cancer now, so I definitely sort of feel that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's no one like not my mother or father, so I can't even imagine like what is going on in your head. So we're glad that we can help, and hopefully we'll have some new episodes coming pretty soon.
Yeah, hang in there.
And let us know if there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, what board games do you play? There was a period of... So we used to play a lot more. Back when we had all the time in the world, where Pamela was the only girl in our orbit.
Yeah.
We had... By that point, by the time that we started Threshold, Pamela and I had already been in a relationship for years and years. And so we were like past that stage of like needing to go on exciting dates. So we were perfectly willing to just like play games in the basement with everybody. So that's why we were able to do so many episodes of Threshold and all the RPGs, and everyone else was kind of in like, we were only working like 2 days a week because we were all doing freelance jobs. And so we played a lot of board games. We played a lot of we played so much Eldritch Horror.
That was a lot of fun though. Eldritch Horror is one of the few like in-depth board games that I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to sit and do this.
And I think it's just because we've been playing it. So we played it so many times that we just got good at it. We got real good at playing.
Just an owl.
Owly. We got real good at playing that game because we had to beat. Not Andreas, but not Asmodeus.
Asmodeus?
No. Oh God, Steven, you're failing so hard right now. No, he's a big Lovecraft entity. He lives at the center of the universe. It'll come to me. Azathoth.
There it is.
We had to beat Azathoth, and we kept trying, and there's no room for error. If you do it, if you don't do it, you lose. So we like really tried to max that out, and so we played that game a lot, and I loved it. We played
Ghost Stories was a lot of fun.
We love recently there was a lot of good games that we played. If you want to sort of like check out a game, Bargain Quest. Our Patrick's. Patrick's. Yeah, it's Bargain Quest, right?
I think so.
I'm gonna double check.
It's basically it's a game where you play shopkeepers that sell items to adventuring heroes. And then the heroes go out and try and defeat a monster. And if the heroes defeat the monster, depending on how much of your equipment you sold them, you get a profit and like prestige. And whoever's like shop has the most prestige at the end wins.
Yeah, prestige and gold.
And it's really fun.
Somewhere on our channel, there's us doing a playtest. Yeah, it's Bargain Quest. I'm just gonna drop a card for this right here, because it is, oh God, okay, yeah, accept, whatever.
Whatever. I think you could just do it right there, right?
Yeah, I just did it. I just added a card for it. Oh, you can only do acceptable crowdfunding sites, whatever. Here, I'll just drop it into I'll just drop it into the comments then.
There it is.
You, YouTube. That is a game that was designed by, Patrick's girlfriend. She and her brother designed the game, and she did all the art for it.
It's really fun.
Yeah, we had a great time sort of doing an early play test of it, and we like it a lot.
Betrayal in the House of the Hill is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we played
Ghost
that
Stories.
a few times. Some of the games that we have been loving recently are Time Stories. That's probably my favorite game right now, and my brother got me a game for Christmas called Captain Sonar, which is Battleship on steroids, where it's 8 players, 4 people on one side of the table, 4 players on the other side, played in real time. People just like shouting at each other like, "Go north! No, we can't go north. It's gonna break our missiles. Do we have missiles ready? Like, yes, get the missiles ready." Just
it's basically like Battleship, but if Battleship was fun.
Yeah, it's Battleship if it was fun.
I like Kill Dr. Lucky.
We played a lot of Kill Dr. Lucky for a while. We have a lot of fans of Secret Hitler in our circle.
I like Mysterium a lot.
Mysterium's good. Happy Salmon.
Oh yeah, Happy Salmon's fun.
For every New Year's Eve, we get together and we have what we call a money party, where everybody we have fake money that we've made with
Brian.
Yeah, it was originally for Brian's birthday, and so he invented Brian, which is I made him up some money that has his face on it. And we printed it out, and we basically do it's sort of like a casino night, but we basically gamble on other games, and then whoever amasses the most money at the end of the night, then
we'll get their face put on a new bill.
Yes, on the bill for next year. So we have Brian is on the 1, Katie, our friend Katie's on the 5, Kevin is on the 10. Those are the we call them the Krubels or President Generals.
Yeah. And then Casey's on the 20.
Casey's on the 20, and those are the quesos. And those are all the bills. And now we're gonna have a new
Buster
one.
Bucks.
Yeah, now we have it. Last year we've had this, and we got to figure out how to prevent this from happening. Is everyone will donate their money last minute if you don't have the most. They'll just donate it to like somebody else. So we put a dog. a dog is gonna go. The dog won this last year, so the dog is gonna have his face on the money.
Well, someone started a fund. Like, donate your money so that we can put the dog on the dollar, and so and his name's Buster, so they're gonna be Buster Bucks.
So it should be
pretty
but
fun.
we gotta curb. I think what we gotta do is, as we get close to midnight, have somebody go around and get everybody's money total, and have that be like we're trading.
But then at
stocks.
that point, why would you keep playing games at that point?
No one's playing games in the last 15 minutes to midnight.
I guess not. I think you have to have like a soft stop about an hour beforehand.
Just do it a little.
And then
I think even just 15 minutes beforehand. Just get everyone's. You have someone quietly go around, get everyone's money totals.
Mm-hmm.
Very just like.
You gotta find a way to have people not trade it.
Yeah, because it needs to stop. The last minute money needs to stop. Anywho.
Boatmenders League.
Will the real Boatmenders League catch up with Jamie soon? Yeah, probably. The Boatmenders League is one of those things that I had no plans for, but will definitely have to come up at some point.
Well,
I have some.
Everything.
What?
No, the crest and stuff.
Yeah, I have some loose ideas of where I could do the Boatmenders League, and how it should catch up with Jamie, but I don't have any definite plans. Because I have some other story stuff that I want to get through first. But I imagine if they're a powerful organization, they will play a role here in this Aranese Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever try any of the D&D board games? We played one of the Pathfinder. Actually, the first night I ever went over to the D6 house, we played the Pathfinder card game. We played a session of that, and I was the cleric, and it was fine. I mean, D&D board games for me they're always trying to simulate elements of D&D for either people without enough friends to play or people with sort of a soft entry point into the game. And so I never, I started on D&D, and so I was never really into oh yeah, let's do, let's play this fake version of D&D. It was always why don't we just play D&D? I can teach you how to roll characters in a couple of minutes and we can do it. So
Red Dragon Inn is one that I personally like. It's basically you play adventurers in a tavern.
Yeah. And
you're all trying to trick each other so you can get them there's a pot of gold that you've all gotten. And the goal of the game is to drink the others under the table. But
you like that one?
I like it when I'm drinking.
Oh, okay.
And when everybody else is into it and not trying to play super crazy characters.
Enjoy your bed. Oh. Enjoy your bedtime.
Bye. Sleep tight. So yeah, Red Dragon Inn is another one that I recommend. It's fun. Yeah. What's next?
Oh my god, I forgot about the Boatmenders League when it came out. What is the highest level NPC in the world of Threshold? DeLong John Silver, when you say the highest level NPC, do you mean who is the most powerful? Like give me just a little bit more of a ballpark. Like who is the most powerful?
Steven, it's Tom Burt.
No, not even close. Not even close. We proved in one of our side sessions that Tom Burt is not incompetent, miraculously. But
That was so funny.
because like if we're talking like who are the most like who are some of the most like if I just want to say who are some of the most who are the most powerful non-divine characters in Threshold, like Clarithax is probably up there. Like any of the dragons that are bumping around the world, we've met 2 dragons. That
Wait, we met 2.
we met 2 dragons. Yes, that
Who's the second one?
in one of the Homeland arcs.
Oh, right.
He was disguised, so we don't officially know him as a dragon, but it is canonical that he is one.
Petri test.
So I mean, those are some of the most powerful characters. I think Vel is definitely up there in terms of like powerful wizardry. Maybe he's not as powerful as like some of the archmages or stuff, but I think that he could probably give them a run for his money on a lot of days. Especially now that I don't have to worry about the level system in Magic anymore. I can have, I can have people with like really, you don't have to be so powerful that you are like the most powerful wizard ever, and anyway. So yeah, I'd say probably like Clarithax is probably one of the most powerful that we've met. Maybe like in terms of like political power, like the Matre Victoria is pretty powerful.
More than Young Z?
Young Z has a lot of money, but like she's not going to be able to go to war with the Elvish Empire.
True. That's true.
So like that's non-divine characters. That's probably a pretty good list. Yeah, dude. Okay. What riddle? What is? What not is? I don't remember that.
Remember when we had all the riddles?
The Faraday Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the Faraday Goose. With Clarifax.
Yeah, it's the Faraday Goose.
Oh, that was the Faraday Goose.
That's the Faraday Goose.
Yeah. Gosh,
Years ago.
Yeah. That was fun. It's so crazy because in my mind, the girls in the basket one.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. I don't remember exactly what it was though.
It's so weird because there are some moments that feel like they've happened so recently, but then they're like, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, like Tori Osselax.
Yeah, like I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but during the games I have like a little black book with me, and that's basically me taking notes. One of the biggest things for me is like I'll take notes on things to help me like concentrate and stay within the world, which is actually really helpful because like sometimes like, oh, so wait, what were we doing last session? What information do you guys know? And it's like, oh well, let me just look in my book. But I started that book right after Syraxis, so it goes really far back, and it's just kind of crazy with all the stuff that is in there. But it still all feels so fresh, but it's not. It's crazy. So you're looking at it.
I know, I wanted to see what the bargain frequently asked questions are. And of course, they're all rules stuff because nerds are impossible. It's not like, oh my goodness, what a fun art style. It's like, can a shop have more than one employee card / upgrade card? We've had many fights about this at our table.
Yes, time does fly.
Oh, the names of all the a lot of the time, yes, those are one of those
Yes.
things that like I will just shit out a name for a tavern, and someone will remember it and they'll be like, "Oh God, yeah, that's what we named it."
So I have multiple cards. So I have like all of my cards, but I do have.
Oh, these are fate cards.
Those are fate. I have like for a while I was keeping track of every single character we encountered. Well, that's classic, but like Jenny, owner of the Four View Inn.
What? Oh, what? Where's the Four of You in?
It's in
Easterton?
Easterton. It's the inn we stayed at. Like Ozylax.
Oh, Jeeves is the caretaker of Gregory. No idea. I did not have any idea about.
Ajzi Haiyang, Nodish Steelsmith.
Yeah, Ingzi.
Yeah. Kumbhakarna, Anton Griffin Rose, late Lord of Sheraton, Anastasia Carmel. I know that name. Scar. We have Scar. Do you remember who Scar is? Close-shaved. No. The close-shaved elf in Barkery.
What?
Bill Strongarm, armor smith in Merrington. Nathan, odds and end shop owner in Merrington. Darius is Jamie's dad. Dauntless is Jamie's horse. So
What's a barkery?
I don't know.
Is it supposed to be bakery?
I don't know. I have all the horse names. So Dauntless is Jamie's horse. Peaches is Clarion's. Sparkle is Rasper's. And Twisty Bread is Vel's.
Actually, Zach, if you want to get really particular, this is how
Muffin is an extra horse. So maybe Cock can have Muffin. But
this is how I spell Easterton these days.
Oh Lord. Leopoldo is Merrington's sword master / bladesmith. So I have like all of Merrington's like guys. Benji Dario. Do you remember who Benji Dario is?
No, but it's a dumb Game of Thrones name.
Sherryman bartender in Olengrad. So it's like I have cards like that hanging around here. Thank you. But then I also have all the tavern names and like some of the stuff that's like happened to the taverns. Oh gosh, let me find. Here we go, bars and taverns.
Oh.
So we have the Weeping Trout in Zerathane, the Four View Inn in Easterton, Artist District. The Boozy Gladiator in Nod near the arena. That one burned down.
Oh, you gotta hold on. You have to see that "burned down" is in like big red letters.
The Wayward Peacekeeper in Nod near the Pentagon. The Clean Sturgeon in Merrington.
Clean Sturgeon.
Clean Sturgeon. That was one of the first taverns named. The Sherry Wine in Raventop. The Pink Rose in Sherrington, Elven District, and Little Elvish Bakery in Sherrington, Elvish District. At one point, I stopped right.
Paint?
Yeah, they're redoing an apartment 2 doors down.
We're the last one. We gotta be the last one.
We're one of the last ones.
Our apartment has been slowly like redoing all the apartments, and we've lived here for so long that we were pretty sure we're one of like the last 5 apartments in the whole fucking complex that they haven't redone. And we're kind of just hoping that they will. Just say, okay, here, we're going to just upgrade you. But we don't want to pay more money.
Moonbeam.
California sucks.
Moonbeam is my.
Yeah, Moonbeam is the one that Gregory gave.
Yeah.
That's the only horse with its own threshold page.
Mm-hmm. Virgie Bacon. Franklin
Willett?
Mm-hmm. Luann. Do you know who Luann is?
No, who's Luann?
the chef at Olengrad.
What scene were we possibly doing that had the chef from Olengrad?
I don't... Honestly,
Some
probably
kind
the
of
wedding. Yeah.
Okay, could you imagine if we had done those wedding episodes now after having planned weddings? How different they would be. Just like, okay, now Gregory, what table setting do you want?
Yeah.
Make a sense motive check to see if that's what your wife actually wants.
I'm not that difficult. Thank you very much. Do you know who...
Vel wants to sit over on the far side of the room. But Jamie doesn't want to sit. Are you going to offend?
Do you want to know who...
we have
Shawnee
to invite
is?
the Whitehill cousins. Sorry, okay.
Who's Shawnee?
Shawnee? I have no idea.
The owner of Make Love Not War.
Where is that?
That's in Easterton.
What is it?
It's a glove shop.
It's a what?
It's a glove
Oh,
shop.
Make Glove.
Yeah, Make
Not
Glove
War.
Not War.
Oh, that's good. That's
Who's
good.
Katrina?
Katrina is Rasper's wife. And the madam at the what is it? Is it the Down Comforter? Or
Yeah,
is it
that's
the Long
right.
Night?
It's the Down Comforter.
Down Comforter? Yeah, the Down Comforter. However, she has moved with him north of somewhere
Some
north
of these are
of Narrington.
Ulfric Steinfaust.
Ulfric Steinfaust is a bard, dwarven bard,
Yeah.
who participated in the.
Some of these are easier than
Who was part of the Gold Gloob.
the Gold Gloob. I don't have that one.
Gold
written down.
Gloob.
I don't have that one written down.
You weren't in that session.
Who's Thaddeus H?
Oh God, Thaddeus H.
This is fun.
That's a Brianism. It has some Jamie connection. Who is Thaddeus H?
Inventor of the Peacekeepers.
Oh no, it's not a Brian. That's right. It's Thaddeus H. Oh God, and no one knows what the H is. See, those are those things.
Yeah.
That I like to go back and retcon, like figure out who Thaddeus H is.
Lyle's Fell. Oh, Lillis Fell.
Oh, that's Lily. That's the elven woman who was in Easterton, who Vel stayed with for between seasons 1 and 2.
Who is Anjou?
I saw that one, but she's an elvish opera singer.
And Queen of
Queen of the Moonberry Festival.
Moonberry Festival
for the year 2014.
Yes.
Well, we can't. I wasn't that specific. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I have like these cards, and then I have my book. I switched over from like writing on the cards to the book, which I think is a better system because now I have all these cards. But I have like everything in here. It's crazy, some of my stuff. But disarming attack. That was a good one.
You still have room for stunts.
I know.
You get 3 stunts for free.
We had our vault. I was keeping track of all of our money.
That's still good.
Last count, we have a 1,032,000 gold pieces.
What?
Yeah, that's what I have.
But you gotta run the country with that. That's not like stuff you guys can spend.
No.
That's pretty good though. Huh. Yeah. That's gonna be a fun number to remember when we gotta start paying soldiers.
Great.
Let's see, if we gotta pay a soldier a gold piece per day. Oh, actually, you guys will probably be doing pretty good.
I have all of my, what I'm Lady of.
Oh, your titles.
Yeah, all my titles.
Yeah, those are all aspects,
Lady
really.
of Meryton, Adler Mountains, Adler Woods, Fanged Coast, Blue Right Harbor, Lighter of the Lamp, Keeper of the Night Tower. That's when I had Mammoth.
Wait, which
Mammoth of the Mountains.
which castle did they rob? Which castle did you rob?
What? Which one?
Brian says you robbed a castle. Which one was it?
We robbed a castle.
Yeah, Brian, which castle did they rob? Yeah, 1 gold piece per day, but you gotta outfit him, and feed his horse. Yeah, so that's
screwed.
No, you're fine. You're not Meryton's not responsible for. I mean, let Anton Griffinrose take most of that.
That's true.
Oh yes. Okay, in the ranch timeline, yes.
Oh well.
It's
the ranch timeline. Come on, guys. Ranch timeline doesn't count. It's like Vegas.
No, what happens is you took the gold with you.
What happens in the ranch timeline
Okay.
stays in the ranch timeline.
We can adjust that number then.
No, because when you go to Vegas, right, you don't have the money stay in Vegas. You keep the money.
Yeah, but that's why it's a bad ad campaign. Because what happens in Vegas is not the idea is like the secret stay in Vegas.
Yeah, but the money doesn't. That's how it works. All right. I wasn't paying attention.
No, we're all caught up.
I'm sure I have more bars and taverns in my little black book. It's one of these. Not that one. Not that one.
I can tell you that Christine DeMarin, when she fled from Raventop to Sherryton, was exactly 22 years, 13 months old. So,
Right,
that's pretty cool.
This is my little My fun little book. Range timeline.
There's also been 4 Kings of Carmel. I figured that out too.
Oh, it's fun looking through this. I have like, in the ranch timeline, I had like Christine's to-do list. And then on the other side, I have cold open ideas.
What are the other cold open ideas?
Flub lines is all I wrote.
Huh.
I don't know. Oh, the Playful Bunny. That is a...
Sheraton Brothel?
Nope. That is in the ranch timeline. It's where the jailer goes every night.
Oh.
The Playful Bunny.
Huh.
Repsar. Repsar. Ooh, the Golden Spider. It's the Sons of the Shipwreck Inn. Yeah, I gotta write all these down. Oh, prom. Prom was so much fun.
You guys were so hesitant about prom.
We were so hesitant, but I'm glad we did it.
I was just like, guys, we're going to do a prom episode. And everyone's like, we're going to do a prom episode?
Well, I was like, wait, what?
I was like, yes, just let me...
4 girls and 4 apples in a basket, and everyone thought the girls were in the battle. That's right!
I don't remember that one.
I remember that one.
I vaguely remember it, but...
Everyone thought the girls were, like, in the basket, but it's 4 girls with baskets.
Alright. Does anyone have, anyone got anything else that we should... Any other questions? Anything else you want us to talk about, or that you want us to know? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the real question is Mercs State Military. I mean, the question is, like, how do you raise troops?
Yep.
Especially if Jeremy, if Jamie is in control of
Chaos. Oh yeah, chaos bombs and
Still plan to run Tomb of Annihilation? No, probably not. I think it would be... Some of those adventures look pretty cool. I love flipping through them, but truthfully, like, they really want you to commit to those. There's a lot to unpack. If there was... is Tomb of Annihilation... Which one is the one with the dinosaurs? Is that Tomb of Annihilation? I would want to... I would definitely want to do... I would definitely want to do the one with the dinosaurs, but...
That one, let's see.
Yeah, they said it's the...
Prince of the Apocalypse, Tomb of Annihilation, no.
Yes, Jungle. Yeah, this is it. This is the dinosaur one.
Oh, it is?
Yarp. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. I would love to, but it's, again, like, it's on those things I'm never gonna probably ever get to. Yeah, I loved Eberron. I didn't run too many games in Eberron. I just stole elements from it. But I think that would be... I remember they had, like, halflings that rode dinosaurs, and so I think that could be fun. Let's see. Will I still pull monsters from 5e? Yeah, I'll definitely pull their... I won't take their stats, but certainly, like, because there's some good monsters there. Mm-hmm. Anytime that I still kept my Pathfinder bestiaries, because sometimes it's fun to run through them and be like, oh, I want a monster kind of like this, or I want to take these things from this. Mm-hmm. So definitely do want to put that together. Definitely I'll still pull monsters from everywhere. But probably just trying to pull elements from them to have them feel a little bit more unique and story driven in the moment. You're gonna keep it? Yeah, we'll keep the channel name. Yeah. We'll keep it. It's just brand recognition and all that. We've already done a change once. I don't think we'll do another one. Curse of Strahd, I think is going to be... I think Curse of Strahd looks pretty cool. Patrick wanted to run Curse of Strahd again. I think one of those things that we'll never get to. I love Gothic horror, especially in RPGs. In Curse of the Crimson Throne, which is one of my favorite adventures that I've ever run, they had an entire castle called Scarwall, which was like super spooky, and we had so much fun exploring Scarwall.
We almost burned down the apartment.
Yeah, we kept the lights low, and we used only candles, and we burned a hole in one of our mats because one of my players, who will remain nameless, built too big of a fire and melted the play mat that we had.
Yep.
Yeah.
iTunes podcast a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just one of those things where, like, if there's a fast, easy way for us to do it, then I think we'll do it. But, again, I like to keep stuff in as much one place as possible so that when we have news or announcements, everything comes back to the YouTube. But I do know how nice it is to just download podcasts onto your phone, especially because we're kind of a listening, you don't need the visuals from us all the time. So it's a possibility. I'm not making any promises for the future, but if we can get into a pretty good workflow, I would love to be able to just kick those out and have them, I think the issue is you have to pay for server space to keep them up. You have to pay to a service like Podbean or something like that. I think is what we used to use. Because we did have some of our early episodes up there, but whoever was in charge of making sure they got up there just dropped the ball. And we just stopped doing it. Yeah, we just don't have the life bandwidth for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it's either run that or run Threshold.
Yeah, or run Threshold. The ranch timeline. Yes, I still have the post. I have the original ranch timeline, and I have actually the episode before the ranch timeline. And I'm definitely going to... Those are Patreon goals. If we can... Let me see, because I have them up there. Because I definitely would love to put those up.
Gosh, the ranch... that original game on the ranch timeline. What's the other one?
It's the episode before that.
Who was our sponsor?
I don't know. Hold on. You want to see?
Yeah. Was it Fuji Water?
It's probably... Yes, it is. Okay. It's a Fiji water.
So when we were initially thinking up Threshold, we're like, well, and our big dreams is like, oh, well, when we have sponsors.
Well, no, it wasn't when we have sponsors. The idea was for us to have a fake sponsor every time.
Oh, that's right, our fake sponsor to eventually become real sponsors. But what we wanted to do is incorporate that sponsorship into each of our episodes. So the reason the Ranch Timeline is called the Ranch Timeline is because our sponsor, we found that it was like a bottle of like ranch.
It was whatever was in the fridge. It was Ken Ham's
ranch or something like that.
Yeah. So I'll put those up there for our. It's been long enough, I think, that if we want them, then I'll put them up there. For our. That's definitely going to be a Patreon reward, though.
Yeah. So that's why it's called the Ranch Timeline, is because we had this bottle of ranch, and who knows? It could have been the Fiji timeline. It'd been very misleading.
So let's see. I still have the footage. I definitely want to put those up on. I would love to put those up on the. Where is my? Here we go. Go to my dashboard. So we don't know how Christine lost her eye in that session or anything like that.
That's right.
Yes,
you gotta get a better picture. Your face is cut off in that.
I know it is. Yes. So if we can get our if we can we have 2 goals right now on our Patreon. If we can get up to 150, we're at $91 right now. If we can get up to $150 every time per episode, then I will post for our Patreon people our original episode, Dungeon Crawl.
Oh, right, it was Dungeon
Back
Crawl.
when we were calling ourselves Dungeon Crawl.
That's right. Who was in this session?
Here, I'm going to give you guys a preview.
Oh.
I'm going to give you guys a preview. Hold on.
I don't even know what this is. I don't even know what it looks like. Oh, we get to see me with short hair. Even when I had my pixie cut. That was fun. I do eventually want to do
Pixie Cut again?
No,
Yeah,
no.
I think so.
Do you let me finish? No. What I'd like to do is for if we are like out of ideas for cold opens and we give Eric enough notice to do like a time lapse of my hair growth throughout the years, because I had that pixie cut.
Okay, welcome to Fiji Water Presents Dungeon Crawl. We're gonna be playing a little bit of D&D tonight. My name is Steven. I'm gonna be the dungeon master. We'll just go right along the line. You guys want to introduce yourself and introduce your characters?
Does that mean I have to go first?
Yes.
Okay. Damn.
Okay,
I am apparently playing alternate universe Vel Andalil, who is still a very young high elf wizard, somewhat of a protege. He's good at almost everything, but now is slightly less wise than his previous, good at everything alternate universe self. His whole thing is he's I'm aging him up a little bit in this version. I want to stick him around like 50 or 60.
In elf years.
In elf years. So he's still very much, he's like the elvish equivalent of like a 16-year-old.
Okay.
Or thereabouts.
This makes no sense.
But he has, that
You
much,
guys can hear this,
60
but
years
we can't.
of experience.
Give us a physical description.
Weird.
I would love to.
So this is a little.
I left my one that I wrote out upstairs, but I will wing it.
This is a little.
Vel
preview.
is very skinny, even for an elf,
No, don't remove
and
it.
stands about 5'10".
Nope.
I get-
Oh,
How do I zoom out?
there it is. That's better.
No, there's a better way to do this. Hold on.
But yeah, that's a little bit of our very first episode.
There we go.
That's better.
So yes, I want to put that on. I want to put that online. How much is it? There's no. Yeah, $1.
Thanks, Lars. Glad you get to see our last
Yes.
little bit.
Let's see.
How much is recording?
So we still have the footage, and so yes, so you can basically we don't have any tiers for our Patreon because we don't have that much stuff. Even if you guys give us $1 per episode, which we're doing an episode a month now, which is like $1 a month. That if there's 200 people doing that, then that helps us a ton because it just means that we have a little bit of a budget to play with. We can do bigger things for the cold opens. We can do more, we can get more technology and more lights and more live streams. I have dreams of incorporating like some more multimedia stuff in there, or like the some of the Philips Hue kind of bulbs to have like lighting that we can sort of change on the fly and that kind of stuff. So that's super helpful. Again, if we can reach. If we can, I might adjust these a little bit lower because I didn't see what these were at. But if we can get to $100, if we can get to $100, if we can get to 150, I'll post the original Dungeon Crawl. If we can get to 200, then per episode, then I will post the ranch timeline for our Patreon subscribers. So again, it only it can cost you just $1.
And basically, if you whatever you post to the Patreon, you get everything. There's no tiering like that. It's like even if you give $1 an episode, you get everything.
You'll get all that content and all the. I'm gonna put up all the episode outlines, and I'll probably do my afterward streams on there too. Oh yeah, let me link drop this.
Listen to the. Oh,
here. Ooh, I think I can actually do a card this time.
We'll see.
Feature a nonprofit. No, can we do this? Yeah. Check out our
Patreon. Cool. And you need to use your text.
Oh my god.
Text is here.
Check it out.
check,
Woo!
check it out.
Woo, woohoo. Okay, there we go. So yeah, check out the Patreon up in
This corner.
that corner.
Low. There we go.
There's a little bit of a delay on us. So yeah, even like $1, and I'll post this. I'll post it here in the text as well. Is super is just super helpful for us to be able to do those little things, and hopefully give you guys some good content. I recently posted right there. There's converting your Threshold 5e character to Fate Hold on our Patreon. So if you guys want a little bit more of an idea of how these characters are going to translate, check out our Patreon because that's up there. Let's see. After Esper went to the north and got frozen and is in space, what happened to him?
Well, he went north. I don't know if he went into space.
The one who's in space is Moorish Greybar.
Yes.
He's a dwarven miner, and he's apparently up on the moon.
Well, which moon? There's two.
On Lunem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the better one.
That remains to be seen.
Oh, thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Anything else? Any other big questions you guys got?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think I have to go to the bathroom again, and then I should get something to eat.
Yeah, I have to start making dinner.
What are we gonna have?
I was gonna do winner, chicken orzo dinner.
Yeah, chicken orzo dinner. Great.
It's easy. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We're having chicken orzo dinner.
Yep.
We're doing HelloFresh. I want them to sponsor me. So
I know. I want free food
because we do that anyway. Oh wait.
Link.
It's broken.
That was a copy paste. Oh, maybe the.
It works for me.
The card?
Maybe. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Hold on. Let me. Because it just said it was bad for me too.
Patreon.com/threshold. I don't know why that's.
Yeah, that's very.
Or you
strange.
could probably search D&D Threshold and find it.
What if I just do it like this?
Add/overview to the web address. Overview for viewers.
Will that work?
Well, just go to patreon.com/threshold and you'll find it.
Let me see. Patreon.com/ We'll try this out.
There it is.
Try that out.
Thank you, Strawberry, for saving us again.
Man, he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, try this. Let's try this one. Will this one work?
Hey, it does!
Yeah, okay. So hopefully that link will work, and I'll have to fix this card. Hold on.
Yeah, so we're not dead. None of us are dead. We're all here. It's just lots of life things happening all at once, and it's a little more difficult because some people had to get girlfriends.
Because some people had to get married.
So it's just been busy, and we're happy to be.
Yeah, again, it's all been good. It's all been great things, but
close enough.
No, I need it to be right.
Did the new episode get posted?
Nope, I haven't even started it yet.
Cool.
I was thinking of seeing if Eric will sync it for me, and then I'll edit it myself since I have the time. But okay. Let's see. Adults and adult culture. Yeah, you got it. Oh, how does Pamela feel about the number of poo jokes in the upcoming episode? Pamela is the cause of a good number of the poo jokes.
Not on purpose.
You are one of the more egregious poo joke makers.
No, I am not.
Yes.
No.
You bring it back.
Once.
You bring it back.
Once.
You guys will have to. I'll let you guys be the judge.
Everyone else did it. I did it once.
I mean, I'm obviously the most egregious because I pushed that envelope, but she was all for it. You guys will be the judge of the of Pamela's opinion about poo jokes or how many she's personally responsible for.
Okay. It was never my fault for most of them, but you guys just ran with it.
You were right along
Vermin?
with us. You were right along with us.
Vermin, not my fault.
Constipated with suspense. Oh, I know what that feels like.
Oh my god.
Opioids.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us on this live stream. I might do another one of these if I'm still Tom!
Ah!
Tom, I'm sorry that I got your name wrong earlier in the stream.
Shh! He just joined. Don't tell him that.
No, I have to be real. No, it's good. We haven't heard from you in a while. You should we should email or Skype or something. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Because we miss you.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for chatting, and we'll catch you guys later on. I might pop in. I don't know if I can pop into these comments if there's any more questions afterwards. Hashtag adulting mostly. Yeah, well, I hear you. Or is it adulting mostly or mostly adulting? That's how I feel like I've been. I've been like only mostly adulting.
Okay, but if mostly adulting sounds really too close to like
yeah,
you get me? Okay. I think adulting mostly is slightly better.
All right. So yeah, we're back.
We're
just we got stuff going behind the scenes. Tom, I'll shoot you guys a text, and maybe we can talk soon. So yeah, exactly. Molesting adults. So enjoy everyone. Your continued quest to molest all the adults.
No.
Because that's what we really hear it. I gotta go. I'm starting to lose it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks a whole bunch.
Bye, guys.
Bye.